Ben Davison, subscribe to Steve Nycom.
So it's fight week. Tyson Fury versus Deontay Wilder. The Gypsy King versus the Bronze Bomber for the WBC and Ring Magazine Heavyweight Championship of the World. If you are a Tyson Fury or a Deontay Wilder superfan, then this is the fight of the year, the fight of the decade, Clash of the Titans, the biggest fight in the history of the heavyweight division, maybe even boxing. For most other people, it's a fight that we weren't really asking for, but it's a fight that we're getting. Now, how does this fight play out? Now, don't be surprised if this fight can go anywhere where your imagination takes you. Honestly, don't be surprised if all this is a premeditated script, something that they agreed on 3 years ago when they first kicked it all off. Don't be surprised of anything in boxing, especially with these two. And I'll say that with a heavy heart, and unfortunately, because too many things have led me to think that way. But maybe, possibly, don't be surprised if a towel comes in from either side. Don't be surprised if there's a knockout either side. Don't be surprised if there's a points win either side. Don't be surprised if there's a robbery either side. And worstly, don't be surprised if there's going to be a fourth fight out of this one. Let's hope not. Now, as far as I can see this fight, as, for me, I think that Deontay Wilder is far more motivated for this fight than Tyson Fury. Do I know that for a fact? No, of course not. But of what we've seen on the promos and whatever else, it seems that Wilder, he's been angry for 18 months. That loss that he took in February of last year has been playing on his mind and his heart ever since. Fury has been living in his head rent-free for the past 18, 20 months. Now, that makes Wilder more dangerous than ever. Wilder's always been dangerous with that one right hand, for sure. His boxing skill isn't going to change overnight. 18 months, I don't care if he's been going back to the drawing board and training for 18 months solid, his style isn't going to change. It really isn't going to change. But I think that Wilder will have made some improvements. And of course, he shared the ring with Tyson Fury on 2 occasions. These guys have had 19 rounds together. So they know each other pretty well. Now, of course, we see the pad work from Deontay Wilder with him slipping the jab, going underneath the hook and going to the body and all that kind of stuff. Is he going to do that on fight night? Absolutely not. Of course, he's not going to do that. I mean, he's been a professional for 13 years. He's never done it before. Why would he start doing it now in the fight of his life, especially when he's probably more emotionally involved in this fight than he ever has been in any previous fight? But maybe there's a game plan to this one. Maybe Wilder is going to come out for the first round or two and try and box him. Make Fury think, you know what? Wilder's actually trying to box me here. Then before you know it, Wilder does what he does, pulls out the detonator. Don't be surprised if that's going to be Deontay Wilder's game plan. Also, don't be surprised if Deontay Wilder just goes straight at Fury. Shit or bust, if you like. Takes it out of the hands of anybody. Either I'm going down or he's going down. Maybe he's got that mentality about him. We know Wilder, he's a little bit short. Well, with a few short sandwiches of a picnic, that's for sure. But don't be surprised if he just goes gung-ho on this one. His mind works very, very strangely, and his fighting style has been very, very strange for the longest time. He's like a stick insect with boxing gloves on. But when it comes down to it, with his mentality, with the way that he is, with the fact that he wants to be pregnant, the fact he can't stop twerking, it is probably just part of his DNA. It's probably just part of his makeup, where he may just go shit or bust in this fight. He may just do that. And that could play to either advantage, really. If he just goes in there, forget the defense and just goes at Fury, then of course he could get Fury out of there. All it really takes from Wilder is one punch. One punch. Just because Fury's gone down before, don't mean he's going to get back up again. Don't forget, that was a Deontay Wilder who floored Fury in round number 12, a fatigued and absolutely knackered Deontay Wilder. Imagine Deontay Wilder landing that punch when he's as fresh as a daisy. Would Fury get back up again? Unlikely. But Fury has the powers of recovery like no man on earth. So maybe Fury can take the power. But ultimately, I think how this fight is really going to go is going to be dependent on Fury. If he switched on from the opening second, Wilder won't better land a glove on him, as in a meaningful punch. If he switches off, if he makes the wrong choice, the wrong decision in this fight, sure, Fury, he can certainly get his lights put out. But I think that the way this whole fight has been building up with a fight that is on, then it's off, then Fury, he walked away, then arbitration, and he's going to be fighting Anthony Joshua. We all were like, great, we get to see it undisputed between two Brits. Of course, it's left a sour taste in many of our mouths, and now the fight's back on after the arbitrator ruled in Wilder's favour. They're meant to fight in July. That got postponed due to, apparently, Tyson Fury having C19. Okay, so of course now they've rescheduled it for this weekend for October the 9th. But don't be surprised if anything was to happen and this fight doesn't go ahead. I think we're probably a little bit late in the day for that to happen, but don't be surprised, okay? This is these two. But as I said before, I'm not necessarily joshing when I say don't be surprised if a towel comes in from either end. From either end. Don't be surprised if Mallet Scott throws that towel in. Don't be surprised if something happens and Sugar Hill throws a towel in. Don't be surprised if the referee stops the fight prematurely on either side. Honestly, don't be surprised if anything. Don't be surprised if this fight goes to points and maybe Tyson Fury is a clear winner in most people's minds, but the judges award it to Deontay Wilder. Basically stiff Tyson Fury. Don't be surprised of nothing. This is boxing. Okay? But if none of that plays out, if Fury is really motivated and he really wants to fight, if Wilder's motivated and he really wants to fight, and there is no kind of script where Fury's turn to take a fall or anything like that, who's going to win this fight? Now, for me, I think you have to bet on Fury. That's probably the safest bet, isn't it? Tyson Fury is the superior athlete. No, correction, he's a superior boxer, not athlete. I think that Wilder's probably a better athlete than Tyson Fury. But inside that ring, Fury is better in virtually every department. Sure, he doesn't carry the punching power of a Wilder, but he certainly punches hard enough to get your attention and put you down. But I think that if Fury doesn't want Wilder to land on him, he won't land on him. If he's switched on, if he's motivated. Wilder, he can try these new tricks and whatever else. It's up to Fury to make the adjustment. But at the same time, it's up to Fury to do what he is supposed to do. His Kronk style coming forward, putting it on Wilder, worked last time. Will it work this time? We've seen Wilder with some recent training clips of him talking to himself, saying how Fury, he ain't that good. He's not what people think he is. He's just an effing cheat and all these kind of things. He's motivated for this fight. I don't know how motivated Tyson Fury is. I really don't know. But Fury, he's got 2 fights left on his ESPN deal. Win, lose or draw. Does he really care at this point? As the Anthony Joshua fight off the table for the foreseeable future. Does he really care? But if all these things are not true and all these things are a case of Fury really wants to get this win, Wilder really wants to get this win, then for me, you have to side with Tyson Fury. But don't be surprised. Don't be surprised if Wilder pulls out that detonator. Don't be surprised at all if he lands on the button of Tyson Fury and arguably shocks the world. But my prediction for this fight is Tyson Fury will finish Deontay Wilder quicker than he did last time. That's my prediction for the fight. But even though I don't know why there's this huge thing hanging over me right now, I've got a feeling that Wilder is going to pull off the upset. I can't help but think in this one. In the rematch, I was very confident when I was saying how Fury is going to stop Wilder in either round 7 or round 8. I was very confident with that prediction. Not too much was swaying me either way. But in this one, there's something hanging over me that thinks that maybe Wilder could pull off this win. He could do it. Now, as far as who I want to win, well, obviously I want Tyson Fury to win. He's been annoying me over the last couple of months with the constant lying and whatever else. And yes, I do feel very aggrieved that when I'm interviewing Bob Arum and I look back to it, I feel like Bob Arum lied to me. So, yeah, I do feel quite aggrieved about it. But he's still a Brit, and I still don't like Wilder. Okay, so I want Tyson Fury to win. But whoever wins this fight, their fans are going to be insufferable. Whoever loses this fight is a bonus for the boxing world, because at least a small section, and it is unfortunate that a minority will support it for majority, because both Fury and Wilder have excellent fans, realistic fans, but they also have a minority in each section that they are an absolute cancer to the sport. They're absolute cancer to the boxing community. So in one way, we're all going to benefit that one of these guys loses, because at least part of that fan base we won't see or hear from again. But I want Tyson Fury to win. I really, really want Tyson Fury to win. But at the same time, if they knock each other out, hey, everyone wins, right, I suppose. Anyway, that's my thoughts. I think Tyson Fury is going to end Deontay Wilder much quicker than he did last time. I think Wilder may have some success in this fight. Don't be surprised if Fury does get clipped and goes down, but ultimately gets up and puts Wilder out of there. Anyway, that's my thoughts. You drop me yours. Click thumbs up, subscribe. Catch you on the next video.